Intellicheck is our featured supplier guest today, and the topic, like you see on the screen, is identity validation for automotive. To get things underway, let's start things now with Doug Austin. Doug, take it away.
Well, thank you, David. Yeah, we're honored to have John Doyle with Intellicheck on today. This is going to be a good session and talk about identity validation. We're all concerned about that issue. Certainly, credentialing people and methods to prove who they are in this current environment. I just saw a couple of spam attacks this morning in our business, and there's a lot of challenges that we need to be prepared for. This series, the Innovative Supplier Series, has been running now a little over 2 years, and it's our objective to bring innovative suppliers in various expense categories, audit and recovery categories, and then also new revenue categories to our clients and to those who are considering doing business with us. Our objective is to help our clients reduce costs and improve profitability, and these sessions go a long way. As you probably know, we've got a pretty deep sourcing team. Their job is to vet suppliers and determine if they're competitive in their space. And we have certainly done that with Intellicheck. So at that, I'm going to turn it over to John. John, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Doug. Really appreciate the opportunity to join the strategic source team here and presenting what we can do to hit back against the fraudsters in this industry, because it's certainly something that impacts everybody associated with this call. What we'd like to do, let's see. What we want to talk about a little bit is the impact in the automotive industry on identity theft. And you can read it as well as I can, how widespread it is. We'll give you a little bit of background on Intellicheck, and then a little bit of a dive into the technology of how this actually works. We're going to show you a demonstration of the technology, and then just kind of open it up for discussion purposes. So, question: how many times in the past year has your dealership experienced somebody using a fake driver's license to purchase a vehicle, do a test drive, something like that? Okay, we're getting some answers right now. And it looks like what we have is interesting. Multiple times each month, 17%. That's a pretty big number. Nobody for a few times a month. Few times a year was 67%, and not occurred yet, just like the first one, 17%. So what it looks like is that, it's a pretty significant issue, because, when you look at the cost of an automobile today, average, $40,000, $50,000? If this occurs a few times a year, that's a very significant loss. Maybe covered by insurance, but still the insurance premiums go up. So great answers to the question. So a little bit about Intellicheck is that we've been doing this for about 20 years. So we've been in it for a long, long time across a wide variety of markets. It's very fast. It takes less than a second to actually validate the identity, and we do it in very, very large numbers. Last year alone, we validated over 100 million transactions across a wide variety of industries. But, here today, we're talking about the automotive industry. So what does that boil down to? Roughly about 350 dealerships. And those 350 dealerships, we identified over 5,000 fake driver's licenses that were presented on roughly 1 million transactions. We do retailers at 30,000 locations across the U.S. We also do a number of the top banks. And very importantly, we are actually in use at 28 state-level law enforcement agencies. So the same solution that our automotive clients use for testing identities are the same solutions that the law enforcement people are doing. And fast forward to 2023, even though we're just starting November, we've already found over 8,000 fake IDs just in the automotive industry alone. So it looks like the bad guys are stepping up their efforts because it's very profitable. Some of the problems we solve is that everyone we talk to today is involved in online car buying. During COVID, it was almost 100% online. Then with the respite of COVID, it switched back to in person, but it's not 100%. There's still an awful lot of people who like to buy online. We can help with that. The other thing is that stolen identities are growing rapidly. Just as Doug said, every day you're hearing about some breach where somebody has, the data has been exposed. And that's how these licenses are actually being created. And we'll get into that in just a minute. The other thing we found is that there's a lot of application fraud, and that, 1 out of every 200 car loan applications are fraudulent. And then finally, there are these rings that are running around, as you can see right down at the bottom. From July of this year in Florida, they arrested 23 suspects, and the key element that they used to steal those vehicles were fake identities. So it's a problem that's not going away. Okay, so this is a little bit about the background of why these fakes are actually so good. You may or may not have heard of an organization called AMVA in the upper left-hand corner. That's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. All of the DMVs across the country and all the provinces in Canada belong to this. It's a standard setting organization for DMVs, so there's interchangeability of driver's licenses. And they publish a standard card design that anybody can go out to the web and you can look at that and see how to design a driver's license. You can also buy the quote unquote original ID book. And actually, some of you might be using this to check IDs. Well, guess what? The fraudsters also buy these fake ID books. So by putting together the card design and the fake ID books, you can pretty well get a picture of what a driver's license should look like. What are the security features on the front? What do the holograms look like? What do the color, ghost images look like? And it's pretty frightening when you see what data is available to the fraudsters to produce fakes. So what are we going to do about it? Well, one of the things that we can do about that is that with Intellicheck, we have a couple of options. One, with online financing, you can actually have the individual submit their driver's license online to you, and you can validate the authenticity of that online without the person ever having to download anything. And we'll show you exactly how that works. So we can take care of that with the online solution. And then secondly, with the in-store option, we also have the ability to use that same solution in the in-store option when the person is there. So if the person is there, you can match their photo to the photo on the driver's license. But if it's fraudulent, it will probably be the same. And we can do that same with the online version as well. So we're going to now pretty much go into a quick demonstration. Are there any questions that anybody might have before we go into this? Okay, so I think now, Doug, we're ready to play the video. And what we're going to do is we're going to play a video showing you exactly how the Intellicheck Portal Plus operates. And what we're going to show you is the exact solution that you would use in the dealership. Okay, so first, you can stop right there. This is the Intellicheck Portal Plus product. What this is an app that you simply log on to on any computer in the dealership that is connected to the internet. So this could be used by the salesperson. This could be used by F&I. This can be used by anybody in the dealership who has the authority to utilize the application. And you log in with a password and a user ID. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the login. Once you're logged in, and stop it right there if you would, Doug. Once you log in, you then enter the application number. That can be the dealer jacket number. That could be the name of the client. That would be however you want to designate this transaction. That is a free-form field where you simply enter the information. Now, if this is a remote transaction, excuse me, you would also check the box where it says capture face. Okay, or then you can also check, and you can stop it right there again if you would, Doug. And we can also do criminal insight reporting and a watch list reporting. The watch list is things like OFAC, the Office of Foreign Asset Controls, and PEP checks, which of course every dealership has to do. Okay, and the document type where it says North American drivers, whoops, I can back up just a little bit right there. It could be a North American driver's license, or it could be a passport or an international driver's license. But in most cases, in the US, it's a North American driver's license, but we can validate other types of credentials as well. Okay, go ahead. Next, when you start the application process, and if you stop right there, please, Doug, you would enter a mobile phone number. Now, if you're doing a remote transaction and the person is not in the dealership, you simply ask the person for their mobile number and you enter that mobile number there. If they are actually in the dealership, then either the salesperson or the F&I person enters their own phone number there and then simply asks the client for their driver's license, and with their phone they can capture a picture of the driver's license. So go ahead. And now once the continue button is pressed, then you'll see in just a moment a text message actually will pop up on the mobile phone. Okay? And in a second, you're going to see a text message come up on the mobile phone, which is on the screen on the left. Okay? And let's stop it right there for a second. So when the person clicks on this text message, it's automatically going to load a mobile app on a web app on that phone. The person never has to download anything to their mobile phone. Everything is done by just simply clicking on the text message. So the person doesn't have to go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store and download anything. Everything automatically takes place by clicking on the text message. So go ahead, Doug, and continue. And you'll see the instructions will now appear on the phone saying it's time to scan your driver's license. So person simply clicks on that and just go ahead and let this play through. Okay. And they're prompted to scan the barcode on the back of the driver's license. And you'll see in just a second that the person takes that phone and they will scan the barcode, hit the start scanning button. And there's the driver's license and it scans. Now they capture the front of the driver's license. And it tells them, simply put the driver's license there, start the ID capture, and capture the driver's license. So there we've captured the driver's license. And then the next one that takes place is if you're in the dealership, that's the end of the process because the person's in front of you. But if it's a remote transaction, you're going to ask them to capture a selfie. And when we're capturing that selfie, we actually do what's called a liveness test to make sure that someone isn't holding up a picture or using a video. And you'll see that when the liveness test takes place. So go ahead, Doug. Okay. So they agree to take their selfie. And when they continue, you're going to see it says, just look straight ahead into the camera. And then you'll see my smiling face again appear on this. And we're starting the selfie process. And this is just taking a selfie. So nothing special here. But it prompts them to move closer. So that is part of the liveness test. And then the selfie is submitted. So once that is done, okay, on the phone, the user only sees that the process was completed. So, but within the dealership, you see this ID authentication screen and it indicates that the customer just took the selfie because that circle is now dark. Go ahead and just let it continue. Okay. And you'll see in just a moment, the validation results will appear on the screen. And this is exactly what you would see at the dealership. Okay, so go ahead and pause that for a minute, please, Doug. So you can see the authentication results. It tells you it was successful. It says the license is expired, but it's still a valid license. And that's because that's my old expired North Carolina license. And there's my selfie photo on the right. So just let the video go just a little bit further, Doug, please. And you're going to see there's the information that came from the driver's license. And then all of that data can then be downloaded as a PDF file, and it can be saved in the dealer jacket, or it can be printed off and put into the dealer jacket in a paper format if you'd like. So that's the end of the video, and we can kill the video now and go back to the presentation. That entire process from start to finish takes about 1 minute. It's very, very quick. So now for a little bit of technology background and how this is actually happening. The difference between Intellicheck and every other vendor in the industry is we are making the determination of the authenticity of that driver's license by validating the barcode on the back. we're reading the barcode to extract the data that says it's John Doyle who lives in North Carolina, and here's the driver's license number. But what the fraudsters don't know how to do, if you go back to where the DMV had all of those standards, each state actually has secure elements that are hidden in that barcode. Intellicheck has been working with the DMVs for over 20 years on this, and we know all of those unique encoding and security features that every DMV in North America uses when they issue that. So by us actually having the ability to decode and look for those security features, we can provide you with a yes or no decision in a matter of seconds with uncanny accuracy. The New York DMV actually did a test with us that was published. And before they used Intellicheck, they had put together about 1,000 fake IDs that they had collected from various people. They used the Intellicheck solution that you just saw to check each one of those IDs. We detected 1,000 out of 1,000, a perfect score. We won't always hit 100%, but our customer base tells us with those 100 million transactions last year that our accuracy rate was over 99% accurate in detecting those fake IDs. Okay. So next slide, please, Doug. The other thing that we provide, and we touched on it briefly, was the OFAC, PEP, and sanctions checking. So in addition to telling you if that license is real or fake, we can also tell you if that particular person has a criminal background, if they are a politically exposed person, if they are on an OFAC or sanctions watch list, or if there has been some adverse or negative monitoring on the news media from that. All of that data comes back to you in that report that you can add into the dealer jacket. Okay. And next slide. So, poll question number 2. How do you do it today? Do you manually look at the front and the back for maybe some tampering to see if the license looks a little funny? Perhaps some of you might be using the booklet that's published that has all the various licenses for all 50 states. So if you're located in North Carolina and you're getting a Minnesota license, you could go to Minnesota and look it up. Is there not some type of online service that allows you to look it up, because there are those that are available? Or do you just generally accept that the license looks pretty decent, and if the person doesn't seem shifty, you let them pass with the credit. If they pass the credit check, you let them go ahead. So any answers on the polls so far? Okay, we got 2 answers so far. And 4. And we need a couple more. How about 2 more answers? Can we get 2 more answers? Okay, so we're split between, there we go, is that looking at the front and the back for obvious tampering is 25%. Some type of booklet is 25%, and some type of online service is 50%. So good. Okay, so that's poll number 2. Okay, and next slide, please, Doug. So the Intellicheck verification process, taking a step back, all you really have to do is we scan that driver's license, the front and back. Intellicheck receives that data. We decrypt it in a matter of less than a second, and then the verification results are returned with nothing to install, either for the dealer's customer or the dealer. It all takes place on apps that you log into. Again, all you need is internet access, and all the customer needs is a mobile phone with a camera. That's it. Okay, next slide. So what are the benefits? Obviously, it's very, very quick. We're verifying that the ID is real. You're verifying that the ID actually belongs to the person it's presenting with. And by doing the OFAC and the PEP checks, you're mitigating any additional risks. The other thing is using this for things like test drives is that, there have been some cases of this, pretty rare, but there's been some cases of carjacking. And generally speaking, the people that are doing that are using fraudulent licenses. The other thing, by doing this, you're also demonstrating to customers that you're helping to protect their identity, because sometimes customers may say, well, what are you doing with my driver's license information or anything? And say, we check every driver's license with the same solution that law enforcement uses to make sure that your identity does not get compromised. That's a pretty strong statement. And then finally, we can help you ensure compliance with the OFAC checks and the PEP checks. Next slide. Okay. So very similar to the one before, and the answers might be the same. But do you do any different type of validation before an individual takes a test drive? Do you ask for a copy of their license? Do you ask them for any secondary form of identification? Do you verify it again through an online service, or you just send a salesperson along with that person and let them go on a test drive? Let's see what this happens. And can we have a couple of more answers? We have 3. Can we get a 4th? There we go. Okay. So very similar to the results before. 20% asked for a copy, 40% asked for a copy and a secondary form of ID, which is good. And then 40% verify the authenticity through some sort of an online system. Okay. Terrific. Next slide, please, Doug. So some general questions that come up. First question, do we need any special hardware? No. All that's required is a mobile phone and a computer with internet access. That's it. What about integration? Usually when you get some sort of a new software solution, whether it be a SaaS solution or some other solution, there's integration. There's no integration required, because with Intellicheck, you can save that data as a PDF and then bring that PDF over into your dealer jacket, or print it out and add it as a paper copy. So there's absolutely no integration required. There's no software to install at all. Again, because it's a web app and it's internet access, there's nothing else to do. How reliable is it? What we're using is, when we actually scan that driver's license with a mobile phone, we are not taking a picture of that barcode, we're scanning it, and we're using that same type of scanner technology that is used in your parts department today when they use a barcode reader to read a part and put it into inventory, or when you go into Home Depot, when you go into self-checkout. How well do those barcode readers work? They work 99.99% of the time. And that's the same technology that we're using to validate that identity with the barcode. So it's extremely reliable. Next slide. A couple of client testimonials. This is the one we talked about with the New York DMV. Prior to using it in the field, they scanned 1,000 counterfeits. Intellicheck found each and every one of those. And with a dealership that's currently using our solution, they had some issues with stolen vehicles for test drives. So their solution, they're using now the Intellicheck portal, which is what we just demonstrated to you. And what they found was, it was very, very easy for people to use. The staff liked it. Their goal was to, catch 5 to 6 fakes a year. They actually found in one single week, 5 in a single week. So now they're catching all the fakes before they hand over the keys. And next slide. So how do you use Intellicheck, and how much does it cost? Always the $64,000 question, but in this case, it's the dollar question. So the prices start at $1 for a minimum of 1,000 validations over a 12-month period. And as I often refer to this talking to people, if every one of your customers comes into the dealership and gets a cup of coffee, and you use a Keurig, and you use Starbucks as the premium coffee in that Keurig, it costs you more than the Intellicheck validation. So, and the additional services such as the selfie, the PEP checks, the OFAC checks are billed on an as-needed basis. Yeah. So that's the end. We're open for questions.
All right, everyone, you can go ahead and type in questions for John with the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. Just type something there, and we'll cover as many of those as we can during our remaining time. And it was pretty short and sweet. We got right to it in a half-hour period, John. So let's go to that first question. How long on average does it take to validate a driver's license?
Yeah, great question. And on average, it's less than a minute, less than 60 seconds.
All right, here's another. Does this work for both in-person transactions as well as online transactions?
Yes, it does. If it's an online transaction, whoever is closing that transaction, if it's the salesperson or the F&I manager, they simply tell the person on the phone, I'm going to be sending you a text message. They type in that the person's cell phone number. And when they receive that text message, as you saw in the video, they simply click on that text message and it prompts them to take a picture of the front, back, ID, and selfie. And then, of course, in person, the salesperson or the F&I simply uses their own cell phone to capture a picture of the client's driver's license.
Here's another. Is there any type of special equipment required?
No, all you need is the dealership simply needs a computer connected to the internet. And for capturing the driver's license, a mobile phone with a 8-megapixel camera or above, which is about everything in the industry today.
And how accurate has it been found to work?
Yep. How accurate it is, as you saw from New York, it's extremely accurate, but our customers today tell us we are 99% plus accurate in detecting false IDs.
And here's another. How long does it take to install the solution?
There is actually no software to install whatsoever. When a dealership signs up with Intellicheck, once we get the documentation complete, we will send you a user ID and password. You will log into a specific Intellicheck website that we will give you a link to. And once you log into that site and change your password, you can then start assigning users within the dealership, and you are up and operating in less than an hour.
And what type of training is required to use the solution?
Yeah, training is very, very easy. Generally speaking, what we do is for the administrators, we give them about, a 10 to 15 minute training program on how to assign users, which is very, very simple. And for people utilizing the system, let's say the F&I and the salesperson, we have instructional videos and, documentation showing how to operate it. Again, and also some videos showing how it's actually used. So on average, once you use the system 2 or 3 times, they're fully trained. There's only one screen to use.
John, how many dealerships do you guys support across the country?
There are over 350 locations currently using it.
Okay. And what other vertical markets are you in? I assume you're doing business other than just automotive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of our largest clientele is the banking industry. We have major banks such as Citibank, Capital One, Fifth Third Bank that are using us for new account openings and credit card openings, things along that nature. As I said, law enforcement uses us. 28 agents, state level law enforcement agencies are using us as well. We're starting to be used extensively in the title and real estate industry, in particular for one of the largest markets for fraud is in Florida with land transactions. And we've had some people down there that started using the system, and within a couple of days, they start to get fraudulent licenses down there. We have a number of retailers that use us. Kohl's Department Store, Hillsburg Jewelers uses us. We do a lot of work with liquor enforcement, a number of bars and restaurants. City of Charleston actually went under contract with Intellicheck. They were having a lot of problems with underage drinking, and they contracted with Intellicheck, and they're distributing Intellicheck to all the local bars and restaurants in the downtown area to utilize Intellicheck for underage drinking. A lot of universities are using us at the stadium level again on that as well. So it's a wide variety of applications in addition to automotive.
Is it acceptable for a user to make a copy of their driver's license and send that in?
Sometimes, yes, you can do that, but there's so many variabilities in that. Plus, when you have a copy, you don't know what you're dealing with. So generally, we recommend that the user present the real license. And again, in today's marketplace, if a user says, I don't have a mobile phone, don't know how true that is. That might be a red flag to look at. So we always recommend that you use an original license versus a copy.
Good. Very informative, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate everybody's time.
no other questions have come in, Doug, so we're ready to wrap.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining today. And John, again, thank you for a very informative presentation. One of the reasons I asked that last question is I just bought a vehicle out of state, and I had to send a copy of my license, and I just scanned it, and they were okay with it. But I guess that isn't probably the best situation to have. But very informative. The series that John presented with Intellicheck today, like I said earlier, has been going on about 2.5 years. I think we've done, close to 60 different presentations on a wide range of topics, from credit card processing to identity verification today, to shop supplies, insurance products, and so forth. If you're interested in a copy of the presentation today, reach out to us at 612-386-3898. Email us at sales@strategicsource.com. We can get you a copy of the presentation. It will also be on our website probably by tomorrow, maybe even earlier. So you can access it there if you want to hear it again. And if you have any need, if you're not currently a client of Strategic Source and have a need for any help on the cost reduction, profit improvement side, please feel free to reach out to us at the numbers and the email I just gave you, and we'll be happy to help you out. But with that, thank you again for attending. Dave, take it away.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, John. And we wanted just to bring up the post-session survey. 2 questions before you go. Love to get your feedback. You spent 35, 40 minutes with us. We'd love to get your feedback on the time spent. So thanks everyone for attending today, and we look forward to you joining us on future webinars with Strategic Source. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.